Hi, everyone. I'm Molly, and I'm the product marketer here at GiveGab.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm GiveGab's Sales Ops Coordinator, and welcome to today's episode of Giving and Gabbing. In this episode, we are switching things up a bit, and we're going to be interviewing a few of our very own members of our engagement team.
We are so excited to bring on our colleagues today, Aimee, our Sales Enablement Manager, and Molly, our Relationship Manager and Team Lead.
Our engagement team specializes in providing support to our current and future Giving Day partners. They help our partners determine their Giving Day goals and which tools will help them achieve fundraising success. GiveGab has helped run over 500 Giving Days since 2015, and our relationship management team is able to use those experiences to guide our partners, offer sound advice, and help them reach their goals. Throughout this interview, we'll be discussing how to set achievable goals, make your Giving Day stand out, and offer some advice on how you can grow the impact of your event year over year.
And with that, we are ready to get started and talk to Aimee and Molly today. So welcome both of you. I would love for you all to introduce yourselves and really just share with us about what you do at GiveGab and how you interact with our current partners and even some of our prospective partners.
Sure. Well, let me start by thank you for having us back. It's always great to be on the podcast. My name is Molly also. I'm a relationship manager here at GiveGab. I've been here for just about 2.5 years. I like to say that my role is based on supporting our partners in the Giving Day off season when they're not working directly with their project managers and are not exactly in the trenches. I get the pleasure of, rather than working with a small bit for a long amount of time, is working with a lot of them for just a little bit of time. And it allows me to hear and learn a little bit about what everyone finds important and keep that focus on the high level strategy and what those end result focuses are.
Thanks so much, Molly. Thank you guys so much for having us. My name is Aimee, and if you're listening and you've used GiveGab before, you might have seen me in the little blue chat bubble or on the PM side of things. I've been at GiveGab for nearly 3 years now, coming up in October, and I spent the first 2 years of my tenure at GiveGab on the customer success team, supporting our customers directly. I recently shifted over to our engagement team as a sales enablement manager, and my role now is to really support our team and helping prospective and current partners and customers really get the absolute most out of GiveGab and realize their goals through partnering with GiveGab. And before coming to GiveGab, I worked in the higher ed fundraising space, and I really wanted to continue to do something where I could make, a positive impact and really feel like I was making a difference through my work. And I love that I can do that at GiveGab with our partners and with our team.
I think that's one of the things that makes GiveGab really special. I think all of us, and I think you'll hear it through our conversation today, we love giving back to our own communities, no matter where we're located. We oftentimes, a bunch of us have experience and backgrounds working in the fundraising space before coming to GiveGab. And I think we work so well with each other. I mean, Aimee, you've worked across different teams. Molly, you work directly with a lot of our partners, and it really helps us not just understand our specific jobs, but understand our partners' needs and what they're experiencing in their communities. And I think because we work so closely together and with our partners, it helps us help them be more successful. And that really leads me into thinking about, what are some of the things that you all have learned from our partners that has really resonated with you since working at GiveGab?
Yeah, I can start on this one, Molly. I think for me, something that struck me through my work with partners and now on our engagement team is just how much opportunity there really is to grow your day and how naturally that growth really does come once you've done your first year. So it's a lot of work to get a Giving Day off the ground, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's a lot. But once you've got that year under your belt, that 2 years under your belt, you can really start to reuse collateral, really start to feel more comfortable with the flow of things. You know what to expect. you're really a lot more used to running that giving day, and you really have that opportunity then to grow, and that opportunity is exponential. Instead of focusing on, getting used to running the day and training your campus partners or organizations, prepping all your materials, you can focus on, securing more match dollars, getting more sponsorships, focusing on getting more organizations or campus partners to participate and growing the reach of your day. And I just love how, a first year giving day really sets that foundational base, and then you can just keep kind of layering on top of it as you go. And it's really not like you're ever starting from scratch, except for, again, in that first year. And even with GiveGab, like, we just have so much support. It's the best. But I'm just always really blown away by that growth that we do see. And I think, in fact, on average, giving days with GiveGab grow 72% year over year. So again, it's just like something that comes naturally, easily, organically, and you're never alone in it or starting from scratch with that. Molly, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Aimee. And I love that you always have those stats in your back pocket. That's what makes you just like so good at your job. Really, one of the things that resonates with me about our partners coming in and really not being from the fundraising space, I had this maybe unfair view that, once you've seen a giving day, you've seen a giving day. And that is just simply not true. I think especially as you go into that year 2 and year 3 and year 4, like Aimee mentioned, no 2 giving days are the same. They're not cookie cutter. And they're all successful in their own ways. That doesn't mean that there are inspirations that we can take from one another. I think one of the favorite things about giving days for me is just talking about those strategies with different partners and talking through how ideas or concepts can be lifted and shifted and reapplied to fit into that new framework. And talking to our partners and hearing how those gears turn. Well, how can we make that work for us? Just based on what's important to them. That's definitely something that's really resonated with me all this time.
I love that you say that, because I so agree. I think both of you are so right. No giving day is the same as another giving day. And I come from the background of running a giving day. And my favorite part of being a part of the GiveGab network on the other side was just talking with other partners, just like you all get to do. And just like we get to experience all the time, is everybody has these ideas and these solutions to change their community in profound ways. And giving days are an outlet in which you can do that. And if it's engaging more people in philanthropy, if it's, engaging younger people in your community for the first time and having them give back, if it's engaging businesses and alumni in different ways, I just think it's so exciting to learn from your peers and to have these honest conversations about what you want to achieve. Because I think that there's so much that you can do and so much you can learn from each other. And that's what helps your giving day grow year after year.
Definitely so many awesome points there. And you're right, Molly, that giving days are so multifaceted and there's so much more to it than just raising dollars. So yeah, Aimee and Molly, let's start a conversation about how do you sort of get started with setting some of those goals, and how do you really get into how you're going to create that impact on the community for the giving day. So could you talk a little bit about why goal setting is one of the most important things to do at the start of the Giving Day project?
Yeah, I'm really excited that you asked this, Jackie. This is definitely, goal setting is one of those things that I am most passionate about. And when I talk about goals, I really don't like to talk about the numbers, especially at the onset. If you're an established giving day and you have a benchmark of what you've done before, I think that that's great. But coming in on that first year, like Aimee mentioned, we have all of this support. We have all of this data. We know how to slice and dice it to see how you compare. And we do that at the Giving Day Leaders Forum. What we can't show with that data is what's important for you in that giving day. So when I'm talking about goals, I want to know what will make you sit back at the end of the day and say, that was a successful day. And that's what changes for across our Giving Day partners. Are small dollar donors more important to you? Are new donors more important to you? Is that gift count showing the repeat generosity of your donors? Is that the most important thing? Once we as a team at GiveGab have an understanding of the most important aspects of the day to you, the rest comes.
Yeah, I totally agree, Molly. Those are such good points. It's super important to just really look at those goals and start doing that goal setting before you even really start thinking about working on the rest of your day. Because like Molly said, there are just so many different things you can accomplish through a giving day. And in order to truly succeed, it's important to pick a few areas to focus on while you're planning so you don't get overwhelmed and don't, drive yourself crazy trying to meet all these different metrics or goals. And to me, the most important part of actually doing that goal setting is sitting down and saying, how will this giving day serve our larger strategy? What are the 2 or 3 most pressing problems that I want to solve for my organization and my community through this giving day? And then once you've set those goals and you know those problems, that's when you can really work backwards and identify the strategies that will help you reach success and reach those goals. And not to toot our own horns again, but that's where our team at GiveGab really shines, I think, because in all stages of working with us, whether you're a new partner, a prospective partner, a seasoned partner who's been with us for years and years, every time we work with you, every time you launch a new giving day, a new initiative, we say, okay, what are your goals? How can we help you reach those goals? What are we going to do to support you in executing those strategies that are actually going to move you towards success? And that's, really important because the strategies that underlie those goals are going to look really different depending on what the goal is. So.
Yeah, thanks, Aimee. That's tremendous, the way that you explained how we kind of get that process started at GiveGab. And I think people can see how that ultimately is such an effective strategy to build the sort of timeline around what the goals are. And yeah, I feel like tremendous is becoming a word of choice lately. I don't know, but like you said earlier, every giving day is unique, right? Even a giving day in the same region from year to year can be unique. So in your all's experience, what really makes a giving day stand out?
Jackie, I could go on this one for sure. A giving day at the basic level, I think, stands out by amplifying the uniqueness of the community it serves. Talking about those higher education institutions, the community foundations, hospitals, even what they're doing to amplify their voices. That unique brand is absolutely crucial. Make it easy for your donors to recognize the day and what you're doing and why you're doing it. I love hearing about some of our longer standing giving days because they've truly become events in their community that everyone looks forward to and has marked in their calendars. And that's something that everyone across the board strives for. This is a little random, but mascots always really delight me. We see these animated characters just really hype with all of this energy in all of our spaces. And I guess really it's just about the story you're telling, what the day is about, who it's for, and what your impact is.
Yeah, Molly, I love the way you brought up that unique storytelling and just building on what you said about highlighting that uniqueness of your community and telling your story. The past year and a half has obviously been challenging for all of us, and especially organizations that relied heavily on those in-person events and meeting with donors, supporters, volunteers, etc., in person to really tell that story and get their kind of uniqueness across. So something that's made Giving Day stand out to me are all the different live stream and virtual methods of engagement that our partners are starting to leverage or have been leveraging that actually make me feel personally a lot closer to the day itself, many miles away. I remember sitting and just watching the live stream for Amplify Austin Day. I literally wasn't even working. I was just enjoying myself, watching this live stream. I just was eating dinner and was just having a good time. I think they were doing things like they were personally interviewing participating organizations. They had a DJ, they had like a live art class at one point. And it was just so cool. And it was also really elevating their community and giving that exposure. And it just stood out to me so much. And another example of that is, our partners at Community Shares of Wisconsin, they live broadcasted drag bingo during the big share and had their community participate in that. So that is just like such a fun, unique way to really engage, to show the colorfulness of your community, and to highlight those who might not be highlighted or have the opportunity to be highlighted in an in-person event. And those are just a few examples, but I think doing that also really helps you grow your day and get those new donors and widen your reach as well. So I think there's a lot of benefit to that too.
Definitely. And you're right, absolutely right. I was watching the Big Give San Antonio live stream yesterday. It just happened. And it really was just such a nice, way to, I was kind of, working in a spreadsheet, and I could have that on the side, just like it sort of filled me with some sense of like positivity and energy to kind of get through that afternoon time when you kind of need some caffeine. It was like my caffeine that day, which is amazing. So yeah, we've mentioned live streaming. That might be a component of this, but how do you kind of get deeper below the surface and beyond just, we want to raise this amount, we want to get this amount of donors, we want to accomplish whatever goal it is. How do you go above and beyond for your giving day?
Yeah, Jackie, that's such a good question. For me, I think above and beyond and what that looks like just evolves as you grow your day. Your first year, if you met your online dollar goal and you get 500 new donors, I think that's pretty above and beyond. For later years, I would say branching out and trying new strategies and new things like business fundraisers or live streaming or building on your live stream, finding new sponsorship dollars or opportunities or match challenge incentives, or even, incorporating more in-person events as things do begin to open up, I think all constitute as ways you can go above and beyond and innovate with your giving day. Molly, I'd love to hear your thoughts, both Molly's, on this.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, Molly, I'd also just really love to hear your thoughts as the one who's actually done this.
Yeah. Do you think we're confusing people with how many Mollys are on our podcast today? It's my favorite part of working at GiveGab is all the Mollys. But I think one of the things that I always approached running a giving day with was to really lean on the support that GiveGab provides and utilize the expertise of my project managers, of my relationship manager. I mean, I would start planning every giving day I used to work with Molly on the other side. So I would go to Molly and I would say, okay, so this next year, we want to engage more of our community foundation fund holders. Tell me what we can utilize on the platform that can help me do that. And because I had a vision and she knew the actual procedure and the technology behind the platform to help me meet those goals, we could work together. And it was it wasn't, we were a team, at the community foundation, and GiveGab was a team, at GiveGab, it was we were one sync team. And by being in sync and by having those really honest conversations and by being ready to work together, we were able to really achieve so much more. And so what I think is important is saying things like that, saying, our goal is to engage more fund holders. And then, our team can say, well, did you know that one of our payment options is, allows donor advised fund giving? I love seeing, a lot of our higher education partners utilizing our premium feature of the gift heat map, where they're really trying to engage alumni across the US. And so you can see gifts coming in from California, from Ohio, from Florida, from Wisconsin. You get to watch that in real time on your dashboard, and it's a great way. And so, when they say we want to engage more alumni, we need to reconnect with some of our alumni who just don't live in the same city as our university anymore. And by doing a gift heat map, you get to see that in action, and you get to say, oh, you know what? I remember graduating with, my friend Jackie, and now Jackie lives over here in Montana, so I'm going to call her and make sure she gives back to our university today. It's just stuff like that where we can connect our partners to meet their goals with the platform features that we offer. I love seeing that. And I have, of course, some favorite features. We've talked about GiveGab, or we've talked about live streaming. I think GiveGab Live does such a great job at, helping you interact with your community through live streaming while also showing the momentum of the day and having the live stats incorporated. I just think that there's so much that you can do. And, once you really get beyond the initial building stages of your giving day, because I think, Aimee, you mentioned it in the beginning, growing a giving day is hard work. It is hard work, but you're not doing it alone. So once you kind of, understand and get through your first year, your second year, you can really take full advantage of all of the features that GiveGab has to offer to really grow and expand what you're able to do and the impact that you're able to make on the people that you serve.
Amazing. And you touched on, a couple of you have touched on this, the idea that you can start kind of small with a certain feature and then you like live streaming and then you build on it the next year. What are some other ways that you can provide some kinds of advice like that for other Giving Day hosts that might be looking for ways to grow their event year over year?
Yeah, I think even in the first year, there is, you'll start to see the personality of the Giving Day come out. We'll have that debrief with your project manager and we'll start looking at stats. And even in that first year, we might just start to see inklings of what might be really special about this day. And I think really identifying those things, doubling down on what organically came up, whether it be peer-to-peer fundraising or the competition for prizes with your nonprofits, or the different areas just competing for that top spot in the leaderboard, doubling down on those things while not being afraid to try some new things along the way. I really liked how Molly mentioned just changing their focus year over year was like, we really want to get this new area more engaged with the Giving Day. We've really solidified and done a really good job with this, but now we need to focus on this. And that's all possible, as Giving Days evolve, is to double down on what you're good at, but make sure that you're keeping an open mind along the way of what might be something fun and new to try. We hear a lot of great stories internally, I think, especially on the project management team and the relationship management team and marketing, of course. But what I also really like about GiveGab is just how much our partners are so tightly connected. It is such a supportive network. Ideas are just exchanged all over the place, and just keeping an open ear and seeing what you might like.
Yeah, Molly, I completely agree. I think just not being scared to iterate and innovate your day, especially, keeping your eyes on those other days or peers around you and repurposing those strategies or initiatives in a way that work for your day. I think those are all really great ways to just try new things and see what works and then go back to the drawing board and just keep innovating. I think another key to just amplifying your impact year over year is just continuously growing and educating the team of supporters that you have behind you. The more that Giving Day hosts invest in educating their participants, volunteers, campus partners, peer-to-peer or business fundraisers, or other internal stakeholders on their Giving Day goals and how those are all going to be an integral part to achieving those goals, the better off that day will be. So really, if you start with that forefront of why we're doing this Giving Day, how you can help with this Giving Day, and really bringing your supporters in on that and making sure they continuously feel involved in that, I think that's only going to help you grow your day. It's only going to help you spread the word and really, really advance your mission there.
Transparency about your goals. I love that. I think when you're transparent about your goals with the people that you're working with, but also the community that you're serving and who's helping you fundraise, you're going to be more successful. So I love that. We've talked a little bit about some types of Giving Day goals. do you all feel like there's a most popular Giving Day goal that we hear from our partners? Is there a unique Giving Day goal that you've heard that you want to share with us today?
I think far and away the most popular goal is just do better than last year. Just make sure that all of the numbers, and make sure that you can point to something that says we continue to do better. And that's very legitimate. I think no one wants to see, that makes everyone happy. The unique ones are the ones that start to fall into that second level. I think the more granular, growing those different facets of your day. How do we make our prizes more equitable? The same nonprofits keep winning year over year. How do we engage with those smaller nonprofits? Or make sure that all of these areas are certainly receiving gifts? How do we keep donor engagement while focusing on the annual fund? I think those are the kind of questions and goals that get me really excited to talk about what we can do to help achieve them.
Yeah, Molly, I don't think I could say it any better. You crushed it.
I love that. I think it's fun. It's really unique to hear everybody talk about their goals. And I think obviously at the top of everyone's mind is, well, we want to keep growing every year. But I think you get to really strategize and innovate with those other goals. So what is it that's specific to your community? And I think when you hear those goals, obviously light bulbs start going off in your head. We know that with a Giving Day, no two are the same, and really each year builds upon the year before. So every year you might embrace something new. Things are getting easier. One part of your Giving Day is going really well, so you want to invest somewhere else. And so when you hear people talk like this, when you hear we want to make our prizes more equitable, we want to engage smaller organizations and make sure each cause area is receiving gifts. When you hear these types of goals, what are some of the sort of amazing premium features that GiveGab has to offer that come to mind that you mention or you talk through to help those partners achieve the goals?
That's a great question, Molly, and something I do spend my days talking about. There are so many things that once you say something, it's like, oh, well, this is what this other partner is doing. Size-based leaderboards come to mind as something that just levels the playing field. And I think it's something that everyone should have. It matches the prize functionality too. And if you start thinking about year one on the platform and just how many basics, like Aimee mentioned earlier, that you just need to wrap your head around, and even just getting your nonprofits onboarded, just how much more time you have to think about some of those extra things and where you want to take the Giving Day. If we're talking about community engagement, I'm going to talk your ear off about business fundraisers, because what better way to just amplify the reach of the message of your Giving Day? If you're starting to get more social media posts because of that extra reach, and those businesses are getting involved with your hashtags, I'm going to talk about maybe helping with some of the more downloadable goodies that our marketing team has available for you, and maybe extending tag boards so that you can show those off a little bit longer. And maybe it is time to do a live stream if you are seeing that reach on social media. And of course, talking through all of those things and making sure that it does align with your base goal.
Yeah, one other, I think, building on that, Molly, one other premium feature that I love and thinking about, especially from a higher ed perspective or an EDU perspective, is the gift heat map. And I think such a big goal that a lot of our EDU partners have in mind is just figuring out how to continue to engage alumni, even though they may be all across the country or even across the world, and really thinking about, what that looks like from a gamification perspective and how they can really entice alumni to make that gift or to reconnect with their school, their college. Yeah. And I love the gift heat map. I think it's so interactive. It's so fun to look at. And I've also seen a lot of really interesting things around matching and challenges and prizes with the gift heat map as well. If we get X number of donors from X state, that'll unlock, $500 of prize funds or things like that. So I think that's a really fun one as well.
Oh, I agree. And I love interfolding incentives into your goals. That was always a really big thing that I loved working on. It's how we were able to achieve a more equitable prize pool. And again, it was just about having that conversation, saying, hey, here's sort of like not necessarily a pain point, but an area of growth for our giving day. What are other people doing? What feature can I leverage? What type of prize can I implement? And the greatest thing is when it can all be done on the platform and you can see it happen in person. And that's always so exciting. I love a good match. I love a good match minute. I just love watching it. It's fun.
Oh, the match minute is so much fun.
Oh, I could talk for hours on a match minute. I mean, you want to talk about how to engage donors at any level? I mean, it's amazing. It's very cool. It's very neat. It's very exciting and in the moment, which is what a giving day is all about. But it's just, having these honest conversations, talking about what you want those goals to be, because like you said, no day is the same. They're all different. They're all doing creative and innovative things, and you can adapt those and bring them to your own community for success. And when we think about success, success can be measured in a variety of different ways. And so as you're kind of, you think through the whole sort of timeline of your giving day, you start by talking about your goals, you build and you implement those goals, the day happens, and then you kind of have this success point and you talk about it in your debrief with our partners, because we find that really important. We learn a lot about what works well, what they can do to grow in the following year, how we can innovate ourselves and make the platform better and more intuitive, greater for donor experience, all of that. And so when you're having those conversations, how are our partners measuring success? How do they talk about that to their own communities?
That's a great question. I think some of those debriefs, I love debriefs so much because it's a great pairing of data, but then also talking through that data. And sometimes that top line number does not explain the story. So it really is still keeping it simple on just, do you consider this day a success? If you can just sit back and say, that was a great day. I'm so excited with how that ended up. That's phenomenal. And I do love talking about those top line numbers and data and talking about the stories behind them as well. Did a major sponsor drop out last minute? Yeah, that was a huge bummer, but look at how many smaller sponsors we got because of that. There are just so many different stories that tell a fuller picture. Did I even answer your question, Molly? I feel like I just got so excited about the concept of a debrief.
You did. I think you did, because there are different ways to measure success. And I think we see that. We see people measure success by looking at the data that you can see on your dashboard, by talking through that, but also that piece of storytelling. Yeah. And so it is what constitutes success for your community. And for someone that's being a better storyteller in their own, engaging, 3 more business fundraisers, Aimee, you talked about training your organizations. I think that's a huge piece. And that is hard to translate to a number, but if you can engage, over half of your organizations in, a webinar or in-person training, and then have them adapt peer-to-peer fundraising, that adds up. And so there's a lot of different ways to cultivate how you talk about the success of your giving day. And I love that in a debrief, you get so excited because you can probably really sense the joy that a partner has when they wrap up that day.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that, there's so much to talk about when we think about giving days. There's so many different things that you can do in ways that you can strategize. And I love that our team gets the pleasure of working with so many partners. I love that so many of our partners have creative goals and they work with each other. Is there anything that you all can think of, anything that we haven't touched on that you find really important about goal setting, about taking your giving day sort of beyond, above and beyond, your even your own expectations that you want people to understand today?
Yeah, I think just jumping in here, I think like something that comes to mind is just also thinking about the larger context and picture of, what your giving day is going to look like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We've talked a lot about kind of year-over-year growth or 2 to 3 year growth, but I think it's also really important when you're setting your goals, when you're looking at, your measurement of success and your outcomes, how exactly those are shaping towards a larger strategy or a larger vision for your giving day and what you want it to eventually look like. So I think that's also an important thing to kind of get your internal team together, get your PM's insight, and really think about, what is the eventual outcome of this giving day? Where is it going to be in 10 years and 15 years? And really thinking about how your goals each year can drive towards that as well.
I couldn't have said it better, Aimee. Absolutely. Keeping an eye on the horizon, seeing those baby steps turn into big steps, and always having your focus on that larger piece is absolutely crucial. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, taking a giving day to an event that people look forward to every year. And I think you're right. I think you can do that when you think about the long term and the future and creating that brand recognition with your day.
Wonderful. Before we close, I would just like to thank Aimee and Molly again for joining us today. We're incredibly proud of all that our partners are able to accomplish, and we love that our engagement team is here to support them every step of the way. We look forward to learning about all the creative goals that you all will set for your next Giving Day. Looking for more tools like this to take your Giving Day to the next level? Visit our resource library to stay up to date with our podcast, webinars, downloadable content, and more at info.givegab.com/resources. Thank you, everyone.